Yeah, greetings. So today's topic is the Stiffener tool. So the Stiffener is a sketch-based feature in CATIA. So you can find it on the sketch-based features toolbar. So if I'm looking over here, typically it's going to be hidden to begin with. So if you look behind the solid combine tool, you will find the Stiffener. So the Stiffener is essentially a tool that is by its nature very similar to a pad in that it creates an extrusion and it defines a, well, let me just say it's very similar to a thin wall pad. So if I were to take this little area here and I were to create a sketch, and notice I've got a reference plane there, so that's an offset reference plane and a part. So if I were to take and create a sketch here, and I'm going to keep this open so you know that an open sketch such as this requires, if I wanted to do it as a pad, requires a thin wall, so or the thick option. So I'm going to go to the pad. Let's look at it. So immediately it's going to warn me and say, hey, you got an issue. You need to make sure you select the thick option, and I will. So I'm going to do it up to plane. So just do it toward the bottom plane. Now I've got the thick option selected. Now I'm going to, and notice what's happening here. So let me enter a size of, let's say, 1/4 of an inch. So you can see where it's coming off of my profile. So my sketch is right in here, and it's going to that side 1/4 of an inch. So if I did the neutral fiber option, it's going to go total of 1/4, 1/8 of an inch one way and 1/8 of an inch the other way. And so notice how it's going up to that surface, but it's leaving the gaps here in the side, which is fine. So if I did merged ends, it's going to take that and it's going to merge it to solid geometry within the current body. So that's very important that it's within the current body. If you're working in multiple bodies, in this case I'm working in a body called from top, so it's merging to geometry within that current body. So that's a pad. So what I want to show you how to do is create the same shape, but this time with the Stiffener tool. So I'm going to delete that pad. My sketch is still there, so let's do the same thing from the top with the Stiffener tool. So provide some shortcuts in this example, at least from the top, and it's very similar to the pad tool, as I said, with neutral fibers and with merged ends selected. So find the Stiffener tool. It's behind the solid combine. I'm going to select from the top. There's two options, from the side and from the top. I'll show you from the side here in just a moment. But let's do from the top. I'm going to do a thickness. What did I do before? 1/4 of an inch. And my profile will be here. And notice it creates the same shape. Now, it's neutral fiber by default. You can change that. But it's merged ends by default as well, except there's no option here for turning off merged ends. So notice here, so I'm going to select OK. It has the same shape as the previous pad that I did, but again, it's a Stiffener feature this time. My sketch, just for a side note, if I were to look at my sketch, notice it's from the top, right? So I'm sketching from the top. So I sketched on this plane and I sketched from the top. That's important, right? So notice the pad is going to be normal to my sketch plane. So there's my sketch plane. So when I created a pad, it's going to, by default, whenever I did it before, it was by default normal to the sketch plane. So when I do a Stiffener, from the top is also normal to the sketch plane. So keep that in mind. From the top is going to be normal to my sketch plane. That's a little bit different from if I did from the side. So from the side is going to be parallel, in this case, to the sketch plane. So let me just pop that over. You'll see the difference. Boom. Notice that runs parallel to my sketch plane, which can be very handy, not necessarily in this situation, but this is just mainly demoing what can happen and the difference between from the side, and again, remember, from the side is parallel to your sketch plane in this case, and then from the top is going to be, in this case, normal to your sketch plane. And similar to the pad, neutral fiber and merged ends is the requirement for this. So that is the very simple essence of the stiffener tool. Now, one thing I like to tell students here is when you get by the way, a stiffener, what's the purpose of a stiffener? In this case, it's there to help provide stiffness to thin wall side features. So just imagine that this is a plastic part, or very simple plastic part, probably couldn't be molded very easily, but that's not the intent of the demonstration. But you can thin the walls out and provide stiffeners in that will help you to make this a little easier to manage. So let me show you another example here. So I want to take this out. So let's say I didn't have any stiffeners. I'm actually going to hide this as well. And I'm going to put in a reference plane. So I have a reference plane geometric set. I use reference planes or geometric sets quite a bit, but I'm going to slap in just put it right there. I won't worry too much about its location just for the demonstration. But let me do a sketch. So it's going to be from the side. Now, notice I'm sketching inside of here, and it's kind of hard to see. There is a tool for my students especially that allows you to cut the part. Right? It's on the visualization toolbar. So it allows you to cut the part through your sketch plane so you can see where you're sketching. So I'm just going to sketch in quickly here, I want to keep the sketch white, which my students would tell you I don't like. I want to keep it white just for the sake of keeping this demonstration short. You can see what I have here. So it's a sketch, right? And so this is a good example of a stiffener. So if I've got a thin wall plastic part here, and maybe I'm getting some forces in here that I want to control while remaining thin wall, a certain thickness, well, I can do a stiffener here. And I need to make sure I'm in the correct working body. So I need to do a stiffener here. So I can do a stiffener. This is going to be from the side. So remember, from the side it's parallel to your sketch plane. The extrusion is parallel to your sketch plane, which is different from what a pad would be, which is normal to your sketch plane. So here's my sketch plane. So just imagine from the side is going to run parallel to that sketch plane. So I'm going to do from the side. Notice it merged in down to the current body. And let's say I want to make it 1/8 of an inch wide in thickness. So it merged ends by default. I got neutral fiber turned on, and there's my stiffener. That would be quite a bit different if I did from the top. From the top would take it and be normal to my sketch plane, so it would take it either that way or this way, which is not what I'm looking for. That would definitely be hard to manufacture. So, but for the sake of demo, that's the stiffener. So that's just a real quick introduction, if you will, to the stiffener tool. And the key things to remember in this, mainly of course for my students, is from the side is going to be parallel to your sketch plane, and from the top will be normal to your sketch plane, like a normal pad would be. So you can think of from the top as being similar to a pad. There you go. Hope that helps. Have a great day.